as coaches, we encourage our clients and the people we work with to go back to their own values. And in that
Hmm.
process of questioning what your own values are, you learn so much about yourself.
Mm.
And it really can help shape your idea of what success for yourself is. And I think this past year has kind of accelerated, the opportunity, but maybe you've been thrown into the landscape now that you need to look at your values, and you are finding different passions than you may have expected before. So I do think that there's a big shift in many different ways. It's like more of a splintering than just one massive shift, but of people all across, the world, having these kind of introspection points and figuring out that what they have been doing isn't really making them feel successful.
Mm.
And so it will be interesting, I think, and I'd love to hear your points of view of how that may reflect in what our leadership profile in the future looks like.
I mean, this obviously resonates with me quite a lot at the moment because I've gone through this journey myself. Um, and as a coach, I absolutely would encourage a lot of work around values and the prioritization of those values and where you're at in your life right now, and have those priorities or the order of those values and priorities shifted. And I really love what you said there about the definition of success, Mindy. I think that's so important, and the acknowledgement that that can change. So, a lot of women that I've spoken to over the last while are re-entering the workforce, and that might be after a significant career break for a number of reasons. And with that comes a lot of challenges just for the individual, right? And for the organization, recognizing that this is an untapped resource. Bringing people back into the workforce is a fantastic thing, and being ready to support them in the ways that they need it. Coaching can play a really important role there. And I think some focused attention in that area will pay dividends in terms of like what leadership might look like in the future.
I completely agree. I worked 20 years in corporate America in marketing, and I was doing the thing. I was living in all these different countries, traveling the world, and I was in Sydney and Singapore, and I was all over the place, and it was fantastic until I got pregnant. And then I had my first son, who's just my first child, my son, he's gorgeous. But I fell down a horrendous suicidal of postnatal depression. And it was there that it took me a year and a half to get out of it. I had group counseling, I had regular counseling and full-on therapy. But it was in that therapy that I learned what values were. I learned who I was, because I had been pushing to something that I thought I wanted. And I was going through this life of, I'm supposed to have this next. I'm supposed to have this next. I'm supposed to do this next. And, when you're confronted with a child, and even, the husbands all out there know, that it just knocked me completely over. And I'm so thankful for it, because it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And it was the pivot for me to go and say, I need to go understand what happened in my brain. I have to understand, what does depression look like? But actually what it did was it led me towards finding my authentic self. And I think if we can find a way, and again, this comes back to the kids coming out of uni. I never learned any of this stuff. So if we can find a way to get into people before they hit a depression, before they hit any kind of suicidal thoughts, before they go anywhere there, success, massive success. And you don't have to be a therapist to do that. So I think, coaching can play a huge role there. And so coming back to the concept of women in leaders and women leaders, I think if we start early, then we've got those women who can decide, do I want to be that leader up there? How does my path look? What do I want to create? What sits authentically with myself and with me and what I want to do.